Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here. And we have the game to talk about that just happened. Indiana, what they are doing in football, the dismantling of teams like this. They're now, and I heard the guy say this in the press conference, they're now the only team in the Big Ten to beat two conference opponents by more than 50 points, which is just baffling to me. I mean, I am flabbergasted by what I am watching because I keep thinking, like during the week, I keep having, we're going to talk about the game and, everything that happened in the game and everything like that. But I keep having these notions where I'm like, something bad's going to happen. Like they're going to get a game where it's going to be tough sledding and they're going to go, um, up against somebody and it's going to be rough, which now I'm really thinking about the Maryland game that's going to happen. But I'm looking at Maryland's schedule and everything, not getting too far ahead of myself, but they have not been good in the Big Ten lately. So those are going to be tough games coming up. But this game against UCLA, this does a lot for the Hoosiers. Like with UCLA coming in, they're a hot team. They've won 3 in a row. They brought in the interim coach and changed coordinators, and they got all this momentum. They got all this positive momentum. Not today. Like you're just, if you have positive momentum, you got all that stuff going on. When you come to Bloomington, it's like this team is just going to dismantle you systematically. It was like watching, and the offense did not even seem that crisp. UCLA was really double teaming Surratt and Cooper on the outside, but our offensive line and everything is able to hold up, and we're able to run the ball. We're able to really just get things done, even when things aren't going maybe 110% your way. But what are we even talking about here? I mean, we're talking about, Indiana was 14 of 18, I believe, on third down in this game, which is an amazing stat, which is just such an efficient offense. We won like every statistical category in this game that you would want to win, except for, UCLA. They had 4 punts. They won that battle and 8 penalties for 82 yards and 1 fumble lost. But third down efficiency, 12 of 16 Indiana was on third down. That is pretty damn good. So the offense, ends up with 475 total yards. But what happened? EJ Williams. That's what happened. EJ Williams. This team is not one dimensional. Um, he ends up with 5 receptions for 109 yards. So your third best receiver, they double your 2 best receivers, and your third best receiver goes for 5 receptions and 109 yards. I mean, this team right now, we're not the team we were last year. We have a bunch of guys that are going to be playing in the NFL on this team, at least be making teams. I mean, and our wide receivers from Mendoza to, and we talked about this early in the year before the season started. On every level of this defense, we have returning players. Now, Aiden Fisher and the injury, they said he's fine. Signetti said he was fine at halftime. And then after the game in the press conference, he said that it was just precautionary and they'll do all the tests. It looked like he was, blocking and somebody came at the side of his leg there. But, he would have been in the locker room if he had real, you know, an ACL tear. I mean, they'll see what it is. But, that got me thinking during that game, would it be injuries, with Wyatt going down last week? And then, Kamara being in the tent a little bit, but he is totally fine. He came back into the game. So, I mean, you think with the injuries might be the thing that's going to, take this team down, that when they play Ohio State, I mean, by all things, it looks like they are heading to play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Gus Johnson even mentioned it during the broadcast, is like, that he would love to see that. And I think he's going to get his wish. But I mean, that's probably going to be for the number 1 seed, which is amazing to think about. Like, they'll play in the Big Ten championship game for the number 1 seed in all of the college football playoff, which this game goes a long way with the college football playoff. But let's talk about a couple more of these stats here, because Hemby and Black, I mean, they just kind of churned this game out. Indiana really ran the ball whenever they wanted to. And our offensive line is playing this group is playing with such a great like continuity together. I mean, that is one thing with an offensive line. Like I can see that with a lot of these other teams. Maybe they don't have the coaching that Indiana has. Maybe they don't have because Signetti's had the same coordinators for like 5 years and he's had a lot of the same coaches stay with him. So you're bringing in all these transfer guys and everything. I mean, you got to have coaches and everybody be on the same page. Maybe that's why, Indiana just has such like their offensive line just looks like a cohesive unit. And UCLA's offensive line, which I mean, I was looking up their players they have some really highly touted, 4-star players, guys on their offensive line that are great and on their defensive line. UCLA's got some great players. I mean, that's the thing that's lost in all of this. Like, what there's so many. We're playing these top level teams now, and we're still beating them in this way. So, but our defensive line is just relentless. I mean, I thought that Lama Leva would, have he would get his opportunities to get out into open space and run, and they closed that door on him easily. I mean, there are very few, even in this game, where they got in there for a sack and he was able to wriggle away from one guy or the other. I mean, Indiana is so fundamentally sound at tackling and just when they get into the backfield, getting tackle for a loss or a sack, you just barely ever see anybody getting away from these guys ever. It's unbelievable what you're seeing. And then with, Fisher goes out, Jones steps up, it was bad to see Fisher out, but it's good to see that, he went out for some plays and, Kamara was out for some plays and you got other guys like Tucker that steps up. You have Landino that is just relentless on the line. Um, yeah, it's unbelievable. Let's take a look at the defensive stats because we were talking about how Wyatt would be out and he was like their leading defensive tackler of guys on the line, but um so Jones ended up with 4.5 of a sack. Tucker ended up with a sack and a half, and Moore ended up with 3 tackles. Tucker with 2. Yeah, and Boykin was in there on a couple also. But it's not they always say it's like the Jimmies and Joes or the X's and O's. Like our Joes are better. Like our guys come out and play with their hair on fire. I mean, that is the difference with Indiana. I mean, the other guys, they may be, we don't care. You're a 3-star, 5-star, whatever. This team, I mean, so far in playing huge wins at Oregon, at Iowa, killing Illinois. Now, beating a UCLA team that was pretty hot and just literally, I mean, I made the thumbnail, said like they looked like they were on cruise control because they did. They looked like they were just on cruise control, but like they weren't playing their best game, but they were just gonna fundamentally and just beat the crap out of this team. Like Boykin, Boykin. I am terrible with pronunciations of some of these names, but tell me what you think. Thank you for joining me. This is Indiana Sports Connection. This is a live. I wanted to get this out tonight because we have the exhibition tomorrow with the basketball, so I want to talk about that too. But this is just unreal what we're seeing with I'm still like watching a game like that. I'm still like my head is spinning. It's like how badly they just beat them right out of the gate. Aiden Fisher with the pick 6 to start the game out. That's very nice. I mean, this game and going into halftime, Indiana gets the ball back, but you score a touchdown right before halftime, and then you get the ball back to start the second half, and you score right away. And I mean, literally that, Alberto Mendoza could have played really the rest of the half from that point on. I mean, it's like 42-3, and their offense has no life to even late in the game. UCLA was trying to punch one in. No, like not a touchdown on Indiana. I mean, that's just how they are playing, how they're getting it done. So, man, I mean, this is so much fun to watch. And Indiana's ranked second. They're not going to go past Ohio State, ranked number one, even though Indiana has better wins than Ohio State does. And really, but that's just fine. That's just fine. I'm going to tell you, if Indiana would happen to beat Ohio State, that may be, they might be able to stomach some losses to Michigan, and they ate Michigan. They will not. Ryan Day will not survive if they lose a game to Indiana. No way. Mark my word. That will be probably his final day. I don't know, but I am starting to believe that this team can really play Ohio State and take it to them. Everyone forgets in the Ohio State game last year, and we were overmatched, I'm going to say, but Curtis Rourke came right out and went right down the field and scored, and we were ahead 7-0. Fernando Mendoza, and I think just the team we have this year, I think we have better at running back. I think we have better, more polished wide receivers from like a 1-2-3 perspective. Unfortunate to see the tight end. I hope he's okay, because man, that was a play where the referee just like blocked him out, and he like went right to the ground on that. So that was bad to see. But yeah, that umpire in the middle there just took out Nowakowski. Um, Here we go. Today's injuries are a killer. Ohio State is deep. Yeah, and they haven't even. No, that's definitely true. And I don't know what guys even have like long-term injuries. We'll see. I think, Fisher and Kamara are going to be fine, but yeah, barring some, they said this in Seinfeld all the time, barring some unforeseen circumstances that like come out of like nowhere. Like, I just don't see how this team is going to show up to a game and lose in these last games. You got Maryland and Penn State on the road. You got Wisconsin, and you got Purdue on the road. And wait, is there another game? No. We're 8-0. That would put us at 12-0, but 8-0 for the Hoosiers. How about that? I mean, I've been dreaming about, and I love to, as fans, we need to dream about what's going to happen with this team. But just imagine if Indiana won the national championship in football. I mean, I'm just saying, just say it out loud. And like, if that came true, just how, I mean, there have been Cinderella stories in basketball. There have been Cinderella stories in football, and every time those teams have got beat, whether it was TCU or whatever, but for Indiana to have their hat in the ring with something like this, to have a chance, and we're going to get a good indication if we play Ohio State, and that'll be a good, if we play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, that's going to be our best barometer going into the college football playoff. Now, will that be a funky game where like there's nothing to play for? I don't know. I don't see Signetti. I see Signetti going out there, whether in the Big Ten championship, no matter what, and just putting it all out there on the line. Um, yes, it is. It's a great time to be a football fan, and yeah, whether you're rooting for the Colts, the Hoosiers. If you're watching Purdue today, and I knew somebody that was at the game, and they said, "Oh, it's 10-0," and I said, "Give it time; they'll screw it up." But oh, and I don't understand Rutgers either. I mean, I used to live in New Jersey. I know Greg Schiano is a good coach. I mean, coached in the NFL. And New Jersey is a hotbed of football talent. I mean, Don Bosco and Bergen Catholic, those two schools there. I know Jim Harbaugh, when he was at Michigan, went out to New Jersey. That's where a ton of good players there. And I'm just surprised that Rutgers is so bad. But they won the game today. I'm not surprised that Purdue is as bad as they are, but that's just typical Purdue. But yeah, I'm always surprised that Rutgers can't get New Jersey guys, but they don't. If you've lived in New Jersey, they're not like in-state school people. They're more the people that are sending their kid to Notre Dame. So, you know, there's a lot of Catholics out in New Jersey, that's for sure. But yeah, a great day of football. I'm gonna watch the rest of the games here tonight. And I am just every time I turn this Hoosier team on, I am more and more like I'm like, whoa, what are they gonna do next? Because you just see no let up, you see no let down in this team from game to game, from play to play, no matter what it is. Mendoza's getting, I think, a lot better. I think his decision making in this game, where they were doubling Surratt and Omar Cooper, his decision making was good. Like, he did not force the ball into some double coverage and get some tip ball where you're going to have let UCLA do that to us. So you can, sometimes it doesn't look all that pretty what he's doing out there or whatever, but he is he says Tom Brady is his idol. So, take what the defense gives you, whatever, and he's getting, I mean, this team has barely any turnovers. I mean, we had a pick by Alberto Mendoza and we had a pick by Fernando Mendoza. You're going to make those mistakes. If you're not throwing a pick every once in a while, you're not being aggressive enough. I mean, really, just ask Brett Favre. But you don't want to be that aggressive. But look, you got to believe. You got to believe you can fit the ball into some tight windows and sometimes throw your guy open and sometimes throw it where he can get it. But a great game by EJ Williams, great game by Bones Jones, really, to step up in the linebacker role as well there in the middle. And this Hoosier team and this Hoosier train just keeps rolling, like, on and on. And it's just another dream season. Who would have thought that the dream season of last season would be followed up by what appears to be the could be the best season in Indiana football history. So, I mean, it's just oh yeah, I didn't see that Illinois score. Illinois got smashed today. Well, yeah, they played Ohio State a lot tougher, but it looks like the wheels are falling off of Illinois now. But the game at Penn State, Indiana's going to be favored in that game. They're going to be favored in all the rest of their games, and they're just they just got to keep it rolling. You just cannot have like a mental lapse where guys are going to, let down and have like a big letdown. I don't see that happening every week. I'm wondering if it's going to happen, and I just don't see it happening. It's just like, um, it's just unbelievable. It really is. I am like sometimes at a loss for words, even when I'm watching the game. Normally, I'm like, today I'm the Oregon game. I'm screaming at the TV the whole time, for intensity. But it's like this game, you can just tell that they had them overmatched so badly. That our defensive line, and that was one last point I want to bring up, because I was talking about that, trying to contain this quarterback, and really, like, Joel Clapp pointed out some creative ways that, Indiana really did stunt some guys in some places, but then had the linebacker like come down and fill in, had a guy drop out. They're doing their job on defense. They're really getting this. Oh boy, cords hanging down here, but those types of schemes, you really have to have disciplined players, because you're going to pull linebacker here and have all of these exotic plays. Guys really got to know, like, what play are we running, because like you can't have one guy drop and whatever. That's how you give up just a big play down the field. So seeing some of that stuff, some of that creative stuff they did to stifle their quarterback, and he was just overwhelmed the entire time. There was nowhere for him to go. There's nothing for him to do except for call it a day. So, but the Hoosiers get the big victory in this one, 56-6. And who would have thunk it? UCLA comes in hot and Indiana just completely throttles them. So Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode, this live stream episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.